Hello YouTube, Mellow as a Matt. As you can see from screen, we are finally in G. I know these deck and fights are a bit late in the month, but I wanted to actually take my time and get a proper feel for the G decks, how they're going to last in the format, and get a list I'm actually happy with. Plus it takes time to actually get GRs in this set, but we got there in the end. We are going to start off with the old faithful Gear Chronicles, the main sakes of the format. I'm going to try and do Royals next, but that's literally how long it takes me to get Legend 10, because I'll be blunt, the X on the ladder is not fun. It's literally Legion format take 2. It's literally infinite loops of heals, PGs, killing your stuff. It just doesn't become fun. So obviously my hype died down. As you will see, I did do a little bit of grinding for the Gear Chronicle deck and fight. So let's start off by going to the deck and see how we go. Right, we are here on the Gears list now. As you can see, it no longer, because of the G zone, it does no longer fit onto one screen. As you can also see by the layout down here, I've actually had to add an extra box in now to cover the G zone. I could have played around on Photoshop and made it one giant box, but then you lose Armor, and I like the Armor Luna still, honestly. So we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up, because obviously with G, the G zone does become the most important part of the deck. And we are going to start with Double Rare, which is Mystery Flare Dragon. Its skill is end of the battle this unit attack hits the Vanguard. You can count blast 4, reel 3 cards from the top of your deck, and if each of those cards has got a different grade to each other, you can then take an extra turn at the end of this turn. If you do not, you then countercharge 4. So basically, you check your top 3 cards. If you've got a 0, 1, 2, and 3 in there, well, 3 of those amongst those top 3 cards, each separate grades, you then get the extra turn. So obviously, zeros being in the deck is really nice because it helps benefit it. It does still require a lot of RNG, and it is a lot of counter blast still, even though you do have counter charges in the actual deck. 4 is still very high, and half the counter charges need counter blast to counter charge. So got to be wary about it when you do and don't use it. Next one up is going to be Lost Age Dragon. Lost Age's skill is end of the battle this unit attack hit a Vanguard. You may then select one of your opponent's rear guards and put it on the bottom of their deck. Basically, it's Chrono Jet skill in a stride, but free because it's on hit. But with 0, obviously on hits are pretty much guaranteed. If you swing rear guard, swing Vanguard, you're guaranteed to hit. So free spin to the bottom, which then activates your counter charger grade 1, because obviously it works off the spinning. Overall, it's nice. I would run another Fate Rider over it if I'd got the other Fate Rider, spoilers. But unfortunately I haven't, so I do run one copy of this. Next up, I do run one copy of Kronos Command Dragon. Its skill is when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 2, then spin all of your opponent's rear guards back to the bottom of their deck. So this is really good for more against the Royals matchup, who like to have specific units in their back row to get boosts and other skills off of. So this obviously clearing their back row. Novas, it's another one, spinning back their Rumbles. You can do so much damage with this card, it's really nice. But as again, it's down to the free part of 0 on hit Vanguards are very easy to actually pull off. Next up, I do run 4 copies of Ragnarok because I managed to pull 4. It did take me going through all 4 boxes, but I did get there in the end. I was literally scrimping and scraping left, right and centre to get the 4th one. I've sat on 3 now for nearly a week and a half, 2 weeks ish roughly. Because I got one very quickly, I then had to empty a full box of the second one, and then third one I got within 10 packs, so I literally said screw it, I'm resetting the box. So I did get there in the end. You can easily run 2 of these and run, obviously for me, it would be one more Fate Rider and one more Kronos Command or Mystery Flare. But you can get away with 2 of this, you do not need 4, it's just nice if you have 4. Its skill is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you can Cat Blast 1 and G Persona Flip, so you flip a copy of Ragnarok in your G zone face up. This unit then, your opponent then cannot guard with grade 0s. And if you have 2 or more face-up cards in your G zone, you can then gain +1 critical. Then you may select one of your opponent's rear guards and put it on the bottom of the deck. So the last skill is a brand new bit to Ragnarok that wasn't in the TCG. And they actually kept the rest of the skill the exact same as it was with the TCG, so it was really nice. Obviously, no guard with grade 0s means they can't use the heals. So it does force out PGs, gaining the crit. And they actually, this is the strange bit, they actually kept the wording on Ragnarok, so you can actually use them as a first stride to force no grade 0s and get you GB2 instantly. Whereas obviously with Victor Plasma, they actually turned him into a GB2. So nice little bit for Gears, give him a little bit of a buff. Honestly, this is your staple stride until we get to the next stage. And then the final stride we have is Fate Rider Dragon. He's the other GR, so his skill is, once per turn, you can choose one of your rear guards and return it to the bottom of your deck. You then search your deck for a card that's 1 grade higher than that unit and call it to rearguard circle. Then for each face-up card in your G zone, you may choose a rearguard for each one, and those units gain power plus 3000. So say, for example, you'd got two Ragnarok's and a Chronos Command face-up, you'd then choose 3 rearguards, and each of those rearguards would then gain 3000 power. So really good card. It's good for shuffling, it heals back into deck, turning grade 1s into intercepts. Because in this meta, you've got certain grade 2s that are just too staple to get out as soon as possible, and this helps do that. Then we're going to move on to the grade 3s and triggers. So obviously we run the 4 staple heals, because every deck in this format is running these heals. And obviously our big boss unit himself, Mr. Chrono Jet Dragon. He's got 3 skills. First one is GB2. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, this unit gets power plus 5000. And if your opponent would like to use a Sentinel card, so your grade 1 PGs, they must then discard a random grade 3 to use said PG. So basically it's Glory Maelstroms in simple terms. Second skill is when this unit is strode upon by a G unit, you can counterblast 1 to choose one of your opponent's rear guards and put it in the deck. Obviously this clears out your intercepts, lets you get more attacks to the face. Really good card. And the third skill is when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, this gets power plus 3000. So this is really good for the fact of it actually creates a 19k in the middle column with the booster behind, with the start behind it. So obviously if you're going first, you pull down a rear guard to make 9, Vanguard Column will guarantee to be 19. Rewards you for actually end up having to go first and not getting to stride first, which is really good. Then I do run 1 copy of the backup of the Legion. Obviously it Legions with the Silent Song grade 1. And then the skill is when this unit is Legioned, you can choose one of your opponent's rear guards and return it to the bottom of the deck. And its third skill is when this unit attacks, may counterblast 1, this unit gains power plus 3000. Then choose one of your opponent's rear guards and put it to the bottom of the deck again. So the third skill isn't actually Legion locked, so you can, if you have to, ride it, swing in, get rid of their starters. If you're going first, you can do that, because obviously starters, for the majority, do have anti-retire, but they don't have anti-spin. So this is really good for the getting around that situation. Plus also you can still Legion if you need to for the very late game, return the heals back to deck, return crits, return PGs. There's so much utility you can do with this card. It just gives you that last little push. Then to finish up, we do run 4 of the in-soul crits. Reason why we run these is we are a soul reliant deck. It does give you an extra little bit of power, and the majority of the skills that we care about are not on hits, so having the crit triggers are nice functions, help speed the game up a bit. Plus you still draw off these. The bit they've added for 0 is if you damage check these, you then draw a card after everything's finished resolving, so they function as a draw trigger on the defensive, so it's really good. And obviously they've got the simple skill of, if your Vanguard is Chrono Jet, you can then tuck this card into Soul to then draw a card and give your Vanguard plus 5000 when your Vanguard attacks. So you can use these to get around retired decks by having a booster, being able to swing in, then tuck it into Soul to safety. Really good card personally. Very nice touch for them to bring them to 0. Next up for the grade 2s, we do have 4 Glimmer Breath Dragons. Skill is GB1. One thing I forgot to mention earlier further down is what GB actually means. It's Generation Break, so it counts the actual face-up cards in your G zone or on your Vanguard circle. So obviously you've got GB1, you've got GB2, GB3s aren't so much of a thing yet, but they do come further down the line. So obviously we've got Glimmer Breath, which is GB1. When it's used placed on rearguard circle, if you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Chrono Jet in its name, you can Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, and then return it to the bottom of the deck. Then this unit gets Power Plus 2000. So this is literally Counter Blast, Soul Blast, remove an intercept. He gains 2k, so he can then swing 11 at a Vanguard and get a hit off, which is really nice. Does combo off with the grade 1 to get counter charge, so you're then turning it into a Soul Blast 2 to remove an intercept. But you do have to be careful, obviously, because soul resources. Next up is personally my favourite card in the deck. I can't remember her name, but she's got 2 skills. First one is Generation Break 1. When you return an opponent's rearguard to the bottom of your deck, you can Counter Blast 1 to then gain the following skill to the end of turn. When this unit attacks, your opponent cannot use a grade 0 to guard with. Basically, Silent Tom from the TCG, this has got that skill on it, so you're forcing PGs out when you're swinging at 5 with this. And the second skill it's got is Resist, so it gets around the anti-retires, anti-spins. It's literally one of the best cards for the deck, personally. Next up, I do run 2 copies of the on-hit Counter Charger grade 2. Because Counter Blast does become a thing very quickly in the deck, so having this in the deck just for that extra little bit of counter charge, not going to say no to it. And the final card we run is 3 copies of the other Silent Tom clone we have. This is the one that actually is the Legion mate of the Legion. Its skill is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1 and your opponent can't guard with grade 0 at the end of that battle. So yep, Silent Tom again forcing more PGs out the deck. But this obviously uses Soul alongside Glimmer Breath in the grade 1 and Chronos Command. The Soul does, as you can see, does become a very big staple of the deck you do need to keep an eye on. Oh, wrong way. And now we're going to the grade 1s now. Obviously we've got 4 copies of Steam Breath Dragon. This has been changed up from the TCG version. It's got its skill now for the deck is when his unit's placed on rearguard circle, you discard 1 card instead of 1 grade 3. But you then get to search for a Chrono Jet Dragon and add it to your hand. Obviously, you want Chrono Jet as your Vanguard. This is an extra way to guarantee you find it. Because obviously now we're running less grade 3s. You do have less chance of actually opening a grade 3. But using this allows you to find the grade 3 that you actually want. And you can discard a dead card like a grade 2 you don't need at this point. Grade 1 you don't need at this point. And for the Legion decks you could discard like heal triggers, crit triggers, draw triggers. Just to Legion them back into deck. So it's very versatile, and its second skill is when you would stride, you may discard this card from your hand, and it gets grade +2. So this counts as a grade 3 in hand for striding. Obviously, to stride, you need to discard cards that equal grade 3 or greater to then stride on top of the Vanguard. So this then counts as a grade 3 just by itself, more cost effective. Next up, we do have the PGs. Madam's skill is when this unit is placed in the Guardian Circle. Oh, it's not when it's placed in the Guardian Circle, sorry. When you are for 5 damage and would die, or 4 damage and a crit. So literally, it's the death ones, not the if you'd be crit from 3 to 5. So it's the new style PGs. You can then prevent the attack, and if you've got a Steam Maiden Arlem in your drop zone, you then counter charge 1. So this is another extra little bit of counter charge. It is very restricted because obviously you need to be dying to actually counter charge. But it is a very useful card for the deck. You wouldn't run any other PGs, honestly. Then we've got this grade 1, which is GB1 once per turn. When your opponent's rearguard is placed on the bottom of your deck, you can then Soul Blast 1 to counter charge 1. This is the one I was talking about earlier that combos off with Chrono Jet, Chronos Command, Lost Aid. This is literally your staple grade 1 personally. More than likely will be cut further down the line as the Counter Blast costs do become less important, because we do get cheaper and cheaper cards. But for now, he's going to very much be part of the deck. Then the final card of the deck is we do run 2 copies of the Maiden GG GG skill is on play Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. Literally, if you build up so much soul, you can actually cool her down, Soul Blast 2, draw a card, and then you can even use Fate Rider to then spin her back to deck to turn her into an intercept, because obviously her being 5k base isn't that useful. You can spin her back to deck, get a grade 2, and then draw into her later if need be, draw more cards. Very nice plays. But that is it for the deck. I shall see you guys when I find the first game. Right, and we are now back into the game. As you might have seen, I'm still only just out of Legend 2, so still got quite a way to go for my one ult mile I need. And we have got a Gear's Mirror. And we do end up going first, so he does get to stride, so meaning we are more than likely going to be losing our starter out of this. As you can see, we've got the 1, 2, 3 that we want. We don't want to keep the heal, and we don't need 2 Glimmer Breath. And so those 2 can return. We've ended up with another Glimmer Breath, so Glimmer Breath will guaranteed to be my grade 2 ride now, because I don't need this many in hand. I've also got the Resisting set, which is really good in this matchup, because obviously they can't spin it. One thing I did forget to cover in the deck profile is the starter, which is GB1, you can Counter Blast 1, tuck him into Soul, and choose a grade 3 in deck, add it to your hand, and it has got anti-retire. Obviously, you'd use this to find a Stride Fodder on your first turn, so you can then discard again for getting another grade 3 following turn. Alright, so we're gonna ride the Glimmer Breath. We have got to be careful because obviously we've just ridden one, we've got one lost to damage, so we are down to 2 Glimmer Breaths. He does whiff a heal, which is very good for us. So I'm expecting with him playing the 8k, he's also playing the 10ks, so I wouldn't be surprised. Oh no, we've seen the Cat Blast 2 bot decker card, okay. Yep, so we use it. Wow, is this? We do draw into the Stride Fodder though, which is very good for us. But what I can do here, obviously Chrono Jet appears. Again, this is the perfect example of why the 3k actually makes a difference. So obviously we can call this down here. We can swing 9 at his 9, and if he hits the defensive here, that'll put him to 19, which we can still break over. Obviously first check nothing, second check nothing. We did also draw into a Stride Fodder, so next turn we can stride only using 1 card and actually start to create a board off what we've got. More than likely going to either go for Lost Age or Kronos Command, depending on how much he actually commits. Because he drops his Chrono Jet Dragon, he's got the nice SP one, I haven't, so he's fancier than me. Stride's using a grade 3. That's the other thing you do want to try and do in this matchup. He goes into... Okay, you're on 3, so you're not going to get your Mischief Flare off anyway. Yeah, he does use Stride to put the grade 0 to the bottom of my deck. So what we want to try and do in this matchup a bit more is actually keep an eye on... actually keeping grade 3s in hand, because Chrono Jet's GB2 still is going to be an issue. He is going to push us to 4 now, which is very good for us. I can, depending on what I draw into, I can try and push us into a Mischief Flare play. But looking at my resources, I don't feel it's worth trying to even go for it. He damage credits, we draw into PG, which is very good. I think I want to be a bit more conservative, and we draw into GG, so I think I'm going to go to Lost Age and actually control his field a bit. So we're going to discard the Stride Fodder. One thing to note is he didn't use his starter, so that's now free estate for us to get rid of. Going to another PG, that's really good. So I can now go a bit more expensive with my retires, shall we say. So I can afford to do this here. Spell blasting out this, and we're actually going to spin the Stride Fodder. Because if you know notice one thing, I can't actually clear his board completely and still get 3 swings to face, so I've got to use a 9k on the 9k anyway. So it's not worth removing his intercept It means it doesn't have a unit that can't hit anything. I can then swing at this. No matter what he hits, I can still break over. I can then spin his starter back to the bottom of the deck. I heal down to 3, which is really good for us. Especially with having double PG in hand. 2, nothing. 3 is a crit, so we're actually forcing him all the way to 5, which is even better. His next turn, well, it's like I've saved the Silent Tom clone here. I can next turn stride into Ragnarok if I can hit a grade 3 or stride fodder. And force 3 swings at face. I did leave 1 soul behind, so I could actually utilise it. Maybe not 3 swings, more like 2 swings at face. He stride fodders. What's he going to go into? More likely the Mystery Flare, I'm guessing. Yep, there's another Mystery Flare. Doesn't use stride skill, so he's not got anything that would hit the... oh no, he has got the Glimmer Breath. So he's the same as the situation as me. This can't hit over this. Or he's not got another booster in hand to warrant it. Yeah. So this will swing in. From what I can see from his list, he isn't running the crits. First check, nothing. Second check, nothing. And third check is nothing. It's now down to luck. We hit a draw trigger, give us grade 1. Does he hit the ability? Does he hit the Mystery Flare is the question. He does hit the Mystery Flare, so we are banking on a 6 damage heal. Which is not the best of situations for us. But he does need to commit more boosters to actually do stuff, because this doesn't hit at the moment, this doesn't hit at the moment. Unless he's got a Fate Rider in his G zone. If he hasn't got Fate Rider, we're actually in a very good position. He's got the stride fodder because you can see it's thinking in the ride phase. Yep, there's the Fate Rider, so he's going to be able to force 3 swings at my face. So we are going to be banking on one of our heals. We have got 3 heals still left in deck, so we are still in a very good position. We got a high chance of hitting him. Not so much in a good position, I mean. But he's now spun a heal back to grab a grade 1 just so this can then hit. Obviously, I'm going to PG here. And that's going to be a PG. We are banking on the heal. If we hit the heal, I can then stride into something just to get rid of this. Force 2 swings at face. Both needing PGs myself. And we've seen from him no PGs, but we did see him just put onto the bottom deck. We don't hit the heal though, so that is going to be a game. I shall see you back for game 2 in a minute. Right, we are actually back for game 2, and we have got Oracle Think Tank. Okay. Now this isn't going to be Susanoo, because obviously Susanoo's not out yet. So is this Battle Sisters or Tsukiyomi? That's definitely an interesting one. So you can see here we haven't actually got grade 3. But we've actually got the stride fodder, so we're going to have to use the stride fodder to find a grade 3. I forgot to see... oh, we are going second. It is Battle Sisters. Okay. So that's an interesting one. We can monitor how much they can actually do by limiting the counterblast. Obviously, Jelly and Pudding are... the Legion itself is the counterblast 3 skill. So if we monitor, that's a lot of grade 2s. So obviously we'll cool this down. I'm not going to go pressuring too hard because I want to monitor their counterblast a bit. We do score into that, which that's good because I can then utilise that as a booster next turn. Oh, Magus, even more interesting. So we now know they are limit break locked, so we can actually let them go to 3 for their first. If we can get them to 3, puts us in a good position. So, gonna go top or bottom. That's on top, so that's more likely gonna be a crit face. 12. Oh, he's not calling another rear guard. Depends what he does with this skill. If he doesn't, oh, he does use it, so he know. Yep, just showing it's a crit. Fair enough. But honestly, that's a waste. He didn't need to do the skill if he was going to be pulling it wrong on purpose. But we can pressure a bit now because I'm going to be calling this. Calling one of these down and calling this. We're going to ditch our counter charge and find the Chrono Jet because we do need it for next turn no matter what. Doing rearguard first. More for the fact, obviously, with us running crits, I don't want to crit with a Vanguard, then the rearguard then can't hit because they've damage checked. Heal's very nice, I'll take that going back down to 1. Whilst they're going up to 3. And they lose another crit out. So there are 3 crits down out of their 9, which is very good for this stage of the game. Yep, make that 4 crits down. This is going really well for us. Okay, attacker. Because of how we've played, they've actually got to commit a board to do anything. So using that to check the top card. So we know what's there. It's another crit trigger, so we are going to be going to 3. Which for us is absolutely fine. Because we're not in a bad position at this point. Obviously I'd like to hit another grade 3 or a stride fodder. Oh. I think what I'm going to have to do is I am going to have to not stride for a turn. And hope that the combinations of my 2 lucky pots will draw me into a grade 3. No, we don't want to move up yet because I want to do this. We are going to force them to 5 so we can actually Ragnar Clock next turn at this point if they don't heal down. Because Ragnar Clock doesn't need to be GB2. It's only GB2 to gain the crit. We got our stride fodder, which is good. And we've got a oh, that's really nice actually, the Silent Song clone, because that means, and the other one. That means we can actually force 3 swings at face. All with checking PGs, which is really good. Haven't seen their heal yet though, so we don't know if it's actually going to be grade 0 heal or an actual grade 3 heal. But we now know he can't kill us. We've got PG in hand, Intercept in play. The most he can do is force us to 4, maybe 5. Roulette, so he can try and actually, well, more to the fact if he can actually have what he wants. Oh, only 1 Intercept. That means we win next turn now. We just guaranteed our win, which is really good. He's going to do that, see what his top card is. Oh, it's not a PG, it's on Tom, even better. So he can't cheese the PG into hand. Yep, so first check, it is grade 0 heals, okay, that's made that a lot better for us. Obviously, we lose a heal because he's so low power. So we get to save our PG, and we top deck into another PG. So we're gonna... With how it is, I'm actually going to play differently. I'm going to be a bit more conservative. We're going to go into Mr. Ragnar Clock. Not Ragnar Clock. Kronos Command. Because, as you can see here, he's got 3 grade 1s in play. So what I'd rather do is, as soon as we've got double PG, triple PG now, we're going to spin you to bottom of deck. And we've got 4 souls, so I'm not needing you. The other one's easy to activate. I'll use this to guarantee my Ragnar Clock for next turn. Battle phase. Just hope we don't crit here. Heal, beautiful. I'll take one of them. Nope, no heals. He heals though. But that's fine. I'm going to Soul Blast one of my crits in case we end up having to Legion. Bring everything to bottom deck. And then bring at this in the face. Loses a PG, beautiful. So he's got 3 card hand now. He's got to commit a full on board to actually try and do stuff to stop me. There's Silent Tom. We know he's got another Silent Tom in hand as well anyway. Obviously he added the other art one, so he kind of gave away more information than he should have done. We know he's got a Stellar Megas on top of his deck, so he's guaranteeing himself the crit. Which, if he doesn't drive check a crit off these next 2 checks, will just PG and face Hasta La Vista, which he doesn't. So we'll go to 5, which is what we want. Ride Skip. Stride into Ragnarclock. Skyed into grade 3. The Ragnarclock. Go into the 4th PG, fair enough. I have got to be careful because obviously Silent Tom. So this is our do or die turn. Because it's our do or die turn, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this and this, because they aren't going to protect us against Tom, no matter what. We're going to swing this into this, force out 1 PG. We now know, because that wasn't forced on a heal, we don't need to Soul Blast for this now. Even if he heals now, this will then kill him, so that's going to be game. We win that one. I shall catch you guys in a minute. Right, that is it for the games. First one we did unfortunately lose to Mystery Flare. Not much we could do about it. Played to the best of our abilities, but RNG was on our opponent's side. Second game, however, we had complete control. I got to show off the Ragnarclock plays. I got to show off the Kronos Command plays. Lots of fun. That is it. If you haven't done so already, please do like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to try and drop either Victor or I'm going to try and get Blade Master because, honestly, I'll be blunt, I don't like playing the cross. And also, I'm still 1 cross short. I've only got 3. Whereas Blade Master, I've got 4 Blade Masters. I've got 2 of each of the GRs. I can make some form of a deck from it. So I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.